I was recently able to check off the Egyptian collection at the Museum of Us in San Diego off of my Egyptian Museums Around the World list. So let's take a look in this Museums with Melissa episode. While I was in San Diego for TwitchCon in October, I took a quick detour to the Museum of Us in Balboa Park. Check out my previous Museums with Melissa video to learn more about the museum in general. But the Egyptian collection was pretty impressive for a smaller museum, so I was excited to check it out. While I was pretty impressed by the museum itself and a lot of the changes it's made over the years, the one thing I found pretty lacking is actually their website. Their website doesn't describe where these Egyptian collections came from, so I actually had to do some digging. It appears that their collection comes from three main locations. The Scripps collection from the Egypt Exploration Society, which is about 450 objects, funerary objects donated by Dr. Jeffrey Smith, around 400 objects, and 7 coffins donated by Mr. and Mrs. Martin Paul. The only one I was able to find more information about was the Scripps collection. This came from excavations in the 1920s and 1930s by the Egypt Exploration Society. Miss Ellen Browning Scripps of San Diego made many contributions to the society and became their honorary secretary for the state of California. For her support, she was allowed to name what museum should be able to receive a selection of objects, after the Cairo Museum had made their selection, which at that time was the standard practice of archaeology in Egypt. She helped the Museum of Us receive a collection of items from the excavations at Tel El Amarna or Akhet Aten. Unfortunately, it does appear that some jewelry pieces that were part of the collection were stolen from the exhibit in the 1950s. And unfortunately, I couldn't find any more information about the 2 other donors that were mentioned. At one time, the exhibit had the remains or mummies of 8 different ancient Egyptians on display. Unclear if these mummies were associated with the different sarcophagi that are in the display today. But in fall of 2018, the museum changed their policy on the display of human remains and removed them. 2 other ancient Egyptian remains were on display at the time, were actually on loan from the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County, and were also removed at that time. The other thing that I was very annoyed by is their lack of an online catalog. I took tons of footage of the objects here so that I can make my Artifact Insight videos, and this is what I normally do whenever I go to a new museum. But when I do make these videos, I supplement photos from their website as well as doing more research on the object. I understand that databases are hard to develop and it does take a while for museums to do so, but I was honestly kind of shocked that an institution this old didn't have any information online. So here's the question: do I make Artifact Insight videos about these objects if I don't have as much information that I like to provide for you guys?